Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. Today we're talking about turning 18, continuing with that series of topics, and we're going to talk about now and comp waivers. In Georgia, the now, which is the new options waiver, and the comp, which is the comprehensive waiver, support people with developmental disabilities. So officially, waiver programs help people who need help to live in their home or community instead of living in an institutional setting. So waiver services are all about helping people with disabilities, intellectual and developmental disabilities, live in their home with their family. Joe, his level of disability would make it really hard for him to be an 18, 19, almost 20-year-old living on his own, finishing high school and living in his own home without supports, because Joe has cerebral palsy and intellectual disabilities and seizure disorders and all kinds of things that limit his ability to live by himself, like a 19-year-old who doesn't have CP and all of those things. Eligibility. So eligibility for this program requires that a person must have an intellectual disability or related developmental disability, such as autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, something that impacts your development. Must have originated by age 18 if it's an intellectual disability, or 22 if it's a developmental disability. So what do you mean allows a person to stay in their own home? Well, in Joe's situation, it provides him with support to have a caregiver come and help him. So Joe, do you like it when Rebecca comes and helps you? Can you tell me? Yes? Yes, I like it. Tell me with your voice. He does. Is Rebecca important to you? Is having Rebecca important to you? Having Rebecca in your life? Yes? Ooh. Ooh, he's having some spasms right now. So Rebecca does a lot of things for Joe. She encourages him to express himself. She helps him with his daily living needs like hygiene and companionship, and she is helping Joe learn how to be more independent, because mom always anticipates what Joe needs. But when Rebecca is with Joe, even though Rebecca probably anticipates as well as I do, because, you know, she's a mom too, Joe has to communicate with her, and Joe's kind of in charge of what happens. Like, she asks him things like, do you want to go in your stander or on your bike? Or are you hungry? Or, you know, she helps him with making decisions that a 19-year-old young man would make. So, it's an important thing for Joe. And he has a case manager, a support coordinator named Robin, who also helps Joe make some decisions about what he wants. Do you want to live at home? If Joe decided that he wanted to live in a group home setting, then we would work towards that. Right now, Joe's decided he wants to live at home with me. So, and Dad and his dog. So that's a good thing. So Rebecca comes to our home, but there are options. So here are the services that a waiver provides. It's a whole, full circle of services. Occupational therapy, speech, physical therapy, medical equipment over age 21. Medicaid under age 21 provides for things like wheelchairs, hygiene supplies such as diapers, enteral feeding supplies if you have a G-tube. Behavioral supports, community access, community living support, so that's a Rebecca. Can provide money for vehicle and home transportations. That's a one-time deal. Support coordination, which is a person who helps you manage your waiver funds. And respite care. So it's a way for the family supporting the person and the person to get the services they need without being in a nursing home. Because that used to be the old option. And then some amazing things happened in the disability community, and advocates fought for these services so people could live in their home. And guess what? It's less expensive to live in your home than it is to live in a nursing home where you're isolated from your family and friends, especially now with COVID. So the waiver is a really good thing. So, steps to getting a waiver. You don't have to be 18 to apply for the waiver. But if you haven't applied for the waiver and you are turning 18, definitely put that on the top of your list. So you have to apply, then there's a pre-eligibility process that you go through, and then you are put on the planning list. Now, the truth is that there is a long waiting list to get waiver services. Right now in Georgia, there are about 6,000 people waiting to get that waiver. Joe was on the list for 6 years when he got his waiver. So, it's not a quick thing. Here's the address, the web address, dbhdd.georgia.gov. You're going to search for the application for intellectual developmental disability services, and you are going to look for your region. There are 6 regions in Georgia, and those 6 regions, we're in region 1, which is basically the top half of the state. So you're going to look for those region office. You can call them. They can help you with all the information you need. Go to the website, dbhdd.georgia.gov, and you just have to search a little bit. It's a little bit of a confusing website, but you can find it. You can private message me on Facebook if you have some questions. We've been through this, so we can help. And it's really a good option, and in some ways it's the only way to fund day services, respite care, and certain things like that after a person turns 18. So that's the waiver. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.